Hello HEMA friends and welcome to this new video. Today I want to treat a subject which is extremely important, whatever weapon you are fencing with, but especially if you are fencing with the longsword. I'm talking about the fact that when you are fencing, you generally speaking have to be able to extend your arms forward, especially while attacking, but not only, and also retreat your arms backward, especially when you are parrying, but not only. And this specific skill is not as widespread as you may imagine, while it should be, in theory, one of the basic components of the repertoire of motions of a fencer. The error that I see sometimes is that people extend the arms with the first action and then they keep the arms extended while going forward with other actions. Now, generally speaking, this is not an error per se, remember, because there are actions which require you to remain with the arms extended all the time, creating a strong structure and so on and so on. But other times it is not the best choice. You have to retreat your arms to parry the actions, void a hand snipe or whatever. So you have to be able and ready to bring back your arms, your hands, etc. to do this kind of things, to apply this kind of actions and techniques. Very good, let's try out a number of exercises to learn how to move our hands, our sword, forward and backward easily when needed. The first exercise is basically a rowing motion done with the elastic band. If you have ever done some kind of rowing exercise at the gym, basically this is more or less the same. But the difference is that instead of isolating certain muscles and so training certain muscles, we're actually trying to isolate a motion, which means that you're not only using the muscles that generally speaking you are using while doing your rowing exercise, you're also rotating a little bit on the axis of your spine, which is something that helps redirecting your sword to place a very good parry, especially on the outside, but this is true also for the inside parry. You can evolve this exercise in different ways. For instance, you can first of all do the exercise in a simple way, simply pulling the elastic band toward you and rotating a little bit the torso, which replicates the parry motion, and then extending the arm forward in a slow way. But you can also try to extend the arm as the elastic band is pulling your arm in a more explosive way, which replicates a little the act of landing the riposte. Of course, it will be easier because it is the elastic band which is pulling your arm and it is not a motion that you are actually doing, but you can follow up in a sense that feels as you are actually doing the motion yourself and not as the elastic band tries to pull your arm only. So try to put intention into the action itself. We are going to train this exercise both with the main hand and the secondary hand, because depending from which kind of parry you are landing, you are actually executing more or less this kind of motion with both arms, depending from on which side of your body you are landing the parry. By staying at a distance which makes you able to do it, you can even add a lunge in this kind of conditions. So the exercise becomes this kind of thing, more or less. You pull the elastic band backward so that you replicate the parry, of course rotating a little bit your torso and so on, and then you extend forward the arm while landing a lunge, a little lunge also, so not too much, just to try out and unite all these motions. Again, remember, you are training a motion more than the muscles, and you're also training the muscle, but it's a secondary objective in this kind of exercise. You are using the exercise to train a motion. Now, the second exercise is basically the opposite of the first one. Here we are training our riposte motion, so we are extending the arm. In this kind of situation, we simply have to extend the arm in an explosive way, especially if we use a light elastic band, or we can try to be as fast as possible, but not too much actually, if we are using a heavier elastic band. So in the first case, we are training the motion, as I said before. In the second case, we are more training the muscles that are landing the motion. So we are focusing on two aspects of the same thing, basically. If you want to train speed, it is better to do it with a low intensity kind of elastic band. It is the best choice in these regards. So try to focus on a lighter elastic band if you have this kind of objective. Now, even in this exercise, we have more options. Simply, we start from, first of all, the position of our parry, so our arm is backward, and then we extend the elastic band forward. We can also land our lunge in this kind of situation. So we can also train our extension of the arm at the proper time. So we extend the arm forward at first and then we follow instantly with our lunge. So we can also train the motion together with the proper timing of the motion and so on and so on. Of course, the ideal timing of the motion, which is not always possible. Now, both in this exercise and the first one, we can, as I mentioned before, train the exercise with the main hand and the secondary hand. But also we can train the main hand by lunging with the main leg, so the right one, or the other leg, the left one. If you are, of course, right-handed, if you are left-handed, it's the opposite. Now, this is true for both the arms. So if you are landing the lunge with the secondary hand, because remember we are using the longsword, so we extend both the arms at the same time, generally speaking, whatever is the attack, or, well, I will say for the greatest majority of the attacks. We can land the same exercises again with the secondary hand by lunging with the main leg or the secondary leg, sorry. So we train all the combinations, all the possible combinations which we can apply. And this helps us greatly, I can tell you, to land these kind of motions while being under stress. It's an exercise which bridges the distance between the exercise at the gym while doing your rowing motion or while benching or whatever, and the proper motion that you land with sword in hand. So it's kind of halfway in the middle, and it helps you connect the things in the best way possible. Now, to this couple of exercises with the elastic band, we can add another couple of free body exercises this time, which are useful, especially if you want to create a training routine which is focused on this objective. The objective of extending the arm and bringing it back to land parry posts or whatever. Now, the first one is an explosive push-up. Now, I am not really explosive, as you will see. I can't generate a lot of explosiveness, let's say, but the objective of this exercise is basically landing a push-up and extending your arms as fast as possible to basically jump a little bit up from the floor with your hands. That's the objective of the explosive push-up. You can find a better execution of it on YouTube, of course, from YouTubers which are focused on fitness, basically. But generally speaking, this is the exercise. I will suggest you to do a 1/6 to 1/10, depending from how fit you are, etc. Of this exercise, so not too much repetitions of it. Focus more on expressing as much power as possible while doing the few reps that you are trying to achieve. Now, the second exercise instead is basically a push-up which connects with the rowing motion. Generally speaking, it is better done, I don't have them with me while shooting the video, is better done with a pair of dumbbells. So basically you execute your push-up on dumbbells, and then when you go up, you execute your rowing motion. As we are training, as I mentioned before, the parry and not the rowing motion, so we are not training the muscles only, but we are training a motion which is composed by more muscles than the single rowing motion itself. We also try to rotate a little our torso also while executing this exercise. So basically we execute the push-up, then rowing motion, we rotate a little bit on the axis of the spine, and then we go back down. Then we execute it with the other arm, and so on and so on. Now the last exercise that you have to do after all of these exercises is simply to land the motion with sword in hand. You can do it in a variety of ways. You can do it slowly, you can do it in an explosive way, and so on and so on. Now here I will add a tiny little thing that you can actually execute while doing the exercises with the elastic band too, which is try to keep your hand relaxed while executing the parry motion, so while retracting the arms backward, while pulling the arm backward, while instead try to tighten your grip on the sword while landing the riposte, which helps you creating energy and speed while landing the riposte against the opponent. All these things together are not an easy objective to achieve, so try to focus on all the motions bit by bit, try to focus on the various parts of the exercise, and if you don't do something in particular, like this tiny particular at the end, which I just mentioned about the hand, it's not that important. Try to focus on the big picture at first, and then when you are used to the exercises, try to add the other aspects of it. So like lunging, for instance, like arm precedence when you are extending the arms forward in terms of timing, and also the tension of your hand, the grip of your hand, be it relaxed or tight, depending from what you're doing. This is probably the last thing that you may end up adding during all these exercises. But if you put all of these together and you execute all these exercises, maybe together with something at the gym, so like some rowing motions, etc., some benching, whatever, you will have a very good parry riposte in the end. So very good people, I hope you will find this video useful in some ways. Thanks for watching as always. Remember to check my Patreon link in the description if you want to support me and the channel. Thanks for watching again, and see you next time.